Now today is the big one. It's the Monaco Grand Prix and I thought I'd make it a bit more challenging. So today's episode will be exclusively in cockpit view. So stay tuned for that. I'll give you guys my settings in about 1 minute's time. So stay tuned for that. First of all, a bit of housekeeping. If you missed the previous episode at Spain, go check it out. Link in the top right. And also check out the league racing content. I'll leave yesterday's video linked also in the top right, guys, because I'm enjoying that far more than my team right now. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, and you know, it's a lot more entertaining for me as something for me to make for you guys in terms of content, because it's much more unpredictable. Now, this weekend we're here at Monaco. You can see the forecast. We've got a lot of rain in qualifying. It's going to be a tricky one. We've brought a couple more upgrades this weekend, and so far we're still the only team to improve our car throughout the season, and we're just taking baby steps towards Mercedes and Red Bull. Now, after practice, we scored pretty much, you know, almost maximum points. We didn't complete the qualifying pace program. We just missed out on that one, unfortunately. Now, here are my camera settings for this weekend. If you guys want to use them in the My Team car, feel free. I'll leave my camera settings video linked in the top right as well for other cars if you want to go check that out. But yeah, we're here for qualifying, and I would say this is kind of the main event of the weekend, really, and the session I want to dedicate the most attention to, because ultimately Monaco is all about grid position. So you join me here currently in Q1. Full wet tyres are on the car, and I had a bit of a scruffy opening lap. It took me a minute to kind of find my rhythm and get up to pace. Now, in qualifying, when you usually have wet qualifying sessions, especially at Monaco more than ever, the idea is to go for a multi-lap run. So instead of fueling for one lap, you fuel for like 3 or 4, and just try and string 3 or 4 consecutive laps together, building up that confidence, building up that momentum, and finding the sweet spot. Now, you join me on my second time lap, my second push lap, and you can see already we are about 1.2 up on our previous invalidated lap on the last one. So we're looking pretty good right now, as I think we're going to be setting quite a respectable lap here with this one. So across the line, and it's going to be P6 for us, just behind both McLarens, ahead of George Russell. I went for a third and final push lap, so all 3 of these were consecutive back-to-back laps, and this one I was only a 10th up, but I managed to find about 3 more tenths in the final sector alone, and we ended up hooking up a very decent lap. And across the line we go. Purple in sector 3, we go P5, and that will do it for now. I thought that would have been FQ1, that would have been enough, but the track dried up, everyone went out in the intermediates, and we had to respond. So you're going to join me now for a full lap on the inters, and the idea here is to go for back-to-back runs. So down to turn 1, braking, I'd say about 150 meters to be fair. It's quite a tricky brake zone to get right, and I feel like there's lots of different lines you can take. So we had a good line through there, heading up through now turn 3, I believe, Massenet into Casino, and we've got a bit of traffic ahead in the form of Lando Norris as we plunge downhill into Mirabeau. Purple in sector 1, but we make a big mistake locking up the right front, completely missing the kind of camber and the gully on the inside to help rotate the car, probably losing, I'd say, a couple of tenths, but we're still pushing here as we head into Portier. Lando will now get out of the way, and we'll get relatively clear track for the rest of the lap. I think we've got Rosberg ahead of us, our teammate. So into the back straight chicane, the Nouvelle chicane, having a bit of a moment under braking, flick the car left, flick it right, and then left again on the exit. Quickly up through the gears as we then go into to back, 5th gear corner, nose in, brush the wall, and then flick it left and right through the swimming pool. Part 1. Part 2, try and get as close as possible to the walls on the right, as we're currently purple in both sectors, and then into Rascasse. Easy does it, as the car ahead is actually Lundgaard, not Rosberg. And now at the final corner, traction not too shabby, a little bit scruffy, but across the line we go, and we jump to the top of the timesheets. The only problem is I went for a second push lap, but it wasn't faster. I made a mistake, it wasn't clean. Luckily, the first lap we done was enough to move us into Q2. So a bit of an interesting Q1, quite busy, a lot of activity, tyres changing, conditions changing, but we got through, and that's all that matters. Now, in Q2, I actually was far more efficient, so I went back out on that, I believe, exact set of intermediates that we used in Q1, which weren't really worn out that much, to try and set some more lap times. Now, the track had hit a decent kind of sweet spot. It wasn't too wet, it wasn't too dry. and the conditions were meant to stay like this. So as you can see across the line on our first lap, we go P8, which isn't too bad. Now we go for a second lap, and at the end of that lap, you can see we're about 3/10 up as we head into La Rascasse, losing a bit of time there through that corner, but then through the final one, finding a bit more lap time, and we're just about 2.5 tenths-ish up as we cross the line. We stay P8, so no change to the position, but we now head for another lap. This one, actually,
no tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
Just double checking their car conditions. I thought I may have brushed the wall, but everything looks good. Making our way now through Casino down to Mirabeau. Currently just a fraction up. We do a good job there of hooking the inside. You can see what I mean about getting that camber and that inside line. It finds you a lot of time if you hit it right. Into the hairpin, we find a bit more time as well. And this is a pretty good lap so far. Nearly 3/10 up again as we head through Portier. Easy on the traction here, making sure we don't wheel spin the car. We get a little bit in 5th gear. I have to short shift to 6th to cut the wheel spin out. Then down to the Nouvelle chicane, 100-meter board in the wet, just like in the dry. Down to 3rd, flick it left and right really quickly there. Change the direction over the curbs, and we found a load of time as we're 4.5 tenths up heading into Tabac. Purple in sector 2, and this is looking like a strong lap as we head into Swimming Pool Part 2. Easy does it there, now into La Rascasse. This time, we're going to try and keep it a little bit tighter. As you can see, we find a little bit more lap time, and then into the final corner. Easy does it. Don't ruin the lap now. I've done so well, and we actually get a really good exit across the line. 5.5 tenths up. Purple in sectors 2 and 3, and we move up into 2nd place, and that should do it. I went out again on a fresh set of inters at the end of qualifying, but once I realised I was safe, I actually abandoned this lap that I was on. You'll see how I actually just roll out of it and back off. No need to risk. We're through, we're safe, save the engine, save the tyres, and save the car. So, job done, P4 and Q2, Rosberg P7, both cars into Q3, and worth noting, Charles Leclerc, 10th-place grid penalty, Sergio Perez, 5th-place grid penalty. So, yeah, Charles Leclerc's bad luck at Monaco continues in this My Team career mode, just like in real life. But now, Q3, soft tyres were on. It was time to go to the dry conditions. Now, my first lap wasn't good. We invalidate at the Nouvelle chicane. You join me now on my second push lap on the same tyres as I just went for another lap, basically. Same concept as in the wet. Much cleaner lap, much more on the pace, let's say. Heading for the final corner, DRS open, and we run up to the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 6.9 and P3. So a very, very good lap there, getting us up the sharp end. And now I'm going to let you guys enjoy this final lap in the dry conditions with engine sound. So enjoy a lap of Monaco. And there we go, across the line. It was an improvement by 2.5 tenths. But for some reason, the AI found so much time on that final run. I don't even know what the hell happened, but the track evolution was something else. I mean, I was P10 on a very strong lap. Like, I don't know where I'm going to find time. And it just wasn't enough. I was shocked to see that. I've got no explanation, just AI track evolution was incredible, but we had really good pace throughout all of qualifying, and even up until the first run it was looking pretty decent. So I've got no idea how the AI left so much up their sleeve. I've never seen such a thing before. You know, I've seen this before when the lap time glitch has happened, but I don't think this was the case. So I'm really mystified as to what that could have been, because, wow, the AI's progression was mental. Anyway, P10 for us, Rosberg P5, so that could be decent. Perez on pole with a 5 place grid penalty, and Leclerc in P7 with a 10 place grid penalty means we should start the race from 9th place. So let's jump into it and let's see what happens on Sunday.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Rosberg, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Gasly, Martinez, Tsunoda and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Vettel, Antonio Giovinazzi and Perez. They've taken a grid penalty. Matsushita, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Nicholas Latifi, Lundgaard, Mazepin, Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
So we're here at Monaco, the Principality, and we're starting from P8. We've gained a couple of places as grid penalties have taken effect and affected some other cars around us. So we have moved up by an entire row onto row 4. Now, there's a bit of a tricky one here. So I've recorded qualifying 2 days ago, and I've done it like a split recording, and I'm recording the race right now on the day it's going out. The problem is I can't practice, so I'm jumping into this race with cockpit view with no laps under my belt in 2 days. So it's going to be quite interesting and quite a challenge, I think, especially the first 5-6 laps, getting used to the car again and getting, into the rhythm around such an unforgiving circuit. Now, if we look at the strategy, this race I've gonna made a custom one. I'm gonna try and go medium to soft. I'm gonna go for that. It should be possible. I don't see why not. The original strategy from the game was hard to medium, but I feel like that's way too conservative, and you can run soft tires at some stage. I've underfueled by 2 full laps, as I feel like we can get away with that, and fuel saving is quite easy around here. You can lift and coast a lot, so let's jump into it. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the pace on the medium is good, and crucially, we survive in cockpit cam. Right, let's do this. Virtual mirror on. Cockpit view settings locked in. 5 lights to go. And we're underway. It's a good start, but nowhere to go into turn 1. Everyone all over the place here. We go around the outside though and get Pierre Gasly straight away. Looks like a good chunk of cars are running the hard tyre actually, so we may have an advantage early on here. Both McLarens going side by side into Massenet and Casino. Let's see if we can find something maybe into Mirabeau here. We're going to go right in the middle of the track so that Gasly doesn't dive bomb us. I've never used the virtual mirror before, by the way, and the cars look so close. I mean, Gasly looks like he's pushing me through, as we've lost Mick Schumacher from the race. Retirement early on. Will that trigger an early safety car? It looks like it won't.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
So Schumacher's car has been cleared already. So we're going to be a little bit on the more cautious side, I think, for the start of this race. I'm in no rush. It's going to take me a minute or two to find my rhythm, of course, on 110 AI, which, by the way, I improved this year quite a lot around this track. So, yeah, we're going to focus up. Obviously, in this race, there'll be no replay cams so that you guys can fully grasp, or at least to some extent, the immersion that I'm feeling in this race right now. So, end of lap 1, up to P7, 1 place gained, and now we're on the hunt to see if we can pass Norris and Ricciardo in the McLarens. I feel good already though, so let's see if we can just start to push it a little bit and put some pressure on the hard tyre runners. To be honest, it's crucial that we do get past them in this first stint, so hopefully you guys might see some overtakes. Oh, Lando out of shape there. Through the swimming pool, he slid into the wall. He won't get any damage from that, but that was a bit of a moment from him. I think he's feeling the pressure as I'm starting to really breathe down his neck here. No DRS just yet. But we're getting a bit close to Lando, and the pressure's building. Lap 3.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Could I pass Lando here maybe? Our straight line speed seems pretty competitive actually for once around Monaco, which is good to see. Had a look there, but no way through just yet. brushed the wall there. Had a bit of a moment. I think Lando has DRS from Ricciardo, unfortunately. No, he doesn't. But I've had a very poor exit. Bit of a shame.
We're low on fuel. Start lifting and coasting. Let's conserve what we have left.
Yeah, don't worry, Jeff will be okay on fuel. That won't be an issue this race. Okay, this could be it. I've had a good run through the swimming pool complex. It all depends if Lando has DRS on Ricciardo, which he does this time. That's a real shame. I was a lot closer this lap. Maybe we can try it again up to turn 4. If I can get the drive out of here, we don't quite nail it. But I'm a lot faster. We need to make this move happen soon because the crossover in tyre performance will start to happen and the hard tyre will come into its own. So we're going to have to try and look for this move soon. I think Ricciardo will be a piece of cake. It's just trying to get past Lando first. I don't think Lando will have the DRS this time. No, he doesn't. We're much closer. This could be the one. Here we go. Around the outside. Yes. Beautiful. Lovely move. Right. Let's go after Daniel Ricciardo. Lando has been dispatched. What a move. By the way, we can absolutely win this race. Car feels very, very competitive. And we're going to have the tyre advantage pretty much the whole race because the AI will stay out longer on their hard tyres and we're just naturally going to box earlier for softs. So that does mean we should get a strong undercut on the AI. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. We don't go purple as a lap, but we're in purple in the middle sector. The pace is looking very good. And I'm starting to put some pressure on Ricciardo now. We've completely dropped Lando. After Ricciardo, it's going to be our teammate Rosberg. But it seems like everyone has gone for the hard tyre, so it's an important phase and important that we pass Ricciardo as fast as possible. I think I may have brushed the wall there as well.
Be careful with the front wing. You've taken some minor damage. Tyre condition is still looking good.
So I did have a slight brush with the wall. Possible wing damage on the car. So we'll have to get a front wing change at the pit stops possibly. Let's see if I can drive through it though. I'm just starting to lock up a little bit and catch the front tyres under braking. Just losing that little bit of front downforce. I'm not quite able to get as close to Ricciardo as I was to Lando and put the pressure on in the same way. So it's going to be difficult to pass Ricciardo now because of that wing damage. Dare I say we may be relegated to being stuck behind him for the rest of the stint because of that. I just can't quite get as close as I want to be really, to make a move. We'll challenge at the turn 1 here, but we're just not really close enough to cause any trouble. Just lacking that little bit, that 2-3% front downforce that I need to really help me get a nice clean exit and stay nice and close to Ricciardo through the crucial phases. So I've got to think of something here. We may have to switch our strategy and go for a hard tyre and box early and potentially undercut instead. Pretty close this time. If I can just get the traction, which I struggle to at the final corner. Rear tyres are starting to go a little bit. Again, they're just not having enough front end to really get close enough. My straight line speed is actually very good, so that's a big plus. We can make moves today, but I just need that bit of front downforce to help me make these moves. I'm super close this time, but it's through here. I just can't quite keep up. I get so much front wash through the swimming pool complex. This is good though. This is the closest I've been. As we head into Raskas, can I stay close now into the final corner? Oh, rear tyres are letting go. I think we're going to challenge though. Oh, I had a look at the inside there. Didn't quite work. Is that going to be more wing damage? No, it isn't. We didn't hit him. I thought I may have hit Ricciardo there, but oh, this is tough. I could have gone to the outside. I should have gone to the outside again, but I thought there was a bit of an opportunity there to get on the inside line. Because of the understeer, I don't really want to be on the outside in case I understeer into the wall. Can I try this again? I thought I may have been able to force Ricciardo into a defensive move. We're pretty close though. Exit of 1 up towards Massenet. Not quite. Oh, another wall brush. So that may be a tad more wing damage. I've had enough of this. We're going to box this lap. Go for the hard tyre. Change the strategy. We're going to see if we can roll the dice here and make something happen in this race. So here we go. Hard tyre selected. Nice clean pit entry. I've looked at the minimap. There's some cars heading through to back right now. We're going to have a front wing change, but I'm hopeful we can still clear them and be ahead of them. So here we go. We need a quick stop anyways. This looks pretty decent. Come on. A bit faster, fellas. Come on, come on, come on. Go, 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 go.
Release, release.
I think we're a bit too late. Oh no, this isn't going to work out.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Disaster, we're going to be out in all this traffic. I went for it. Didn't pay off. I missed out by about 2 seconds. Obviously, if I didn't have to take a front wing change, it would have been fine, but I need the wing change. I need the front end on the car. Right, now what are we going to do now? This is kind of tricky for us. It's going to ruin the undercut attempt on Daniel Ricciardo, and we may lose out to Norris again, to be honest. Let's try and get past these guys one by one. That's all we can do at this stage of the race. We've got a front end on our car now, so overtakes should be possible. Having a look around the outside of Leclerc here. Isn't going to happen, but we'll set him up for the move on the pit straight. Have we got enough juice around the outside? That's the move. That's going to be the move today. Lovely. Red Bull's next. Verstappen next. I wonder if we can just get a nice clean pass it into turn 1. Nice exit. Red Bull seems pretty fast on the straight though. Gonna go up the inside this time. There we go. Bit of a scruffy move, bit of contact, but we're through. Perez next. I'm expecting us to still have about 5 to 6 laps until the AI pit, probably 5 laps, or maybe even 4 in some cases. So if I can clear these two in the next lap or so, and have a couple laps in clean air, we can still make this happen. But I need to pass them now. It has to happen. I can't waste any more time. Around the outside of Raskas on Perez here. Into the final corner. Wasn't quite able to make it work, but similar move to the Leclerc one as Verstappen pits. Tight. Not a lot of space, but we're through. Matsushita remains. Let's go get him.
Nico has come into the pits. He's in the pit lane now.
That's earlier than expected. Ricciardo's pitting as well. So the undercut isn't going to work as we get our shape through the swimming pool section. So we're going to have to do it on track. It's going to be a rough race, this one, in terms of gaining places. The undercut has completely backfired because I rejoined in traffic. So let's see how this race shakes out. Let's see if Matsushita pits. I'm not going to commit to a move just yet in case he dives into the pit lane, which he doesn't. So we're going to get him on the pit straight. Here we go. He doesn't have DRS, so it should be a fairly easy move. On the outside one more time, and we're through, and job done. Now the only bad thing is we're on the wrong tyre. Everyone's on mediums, so if we want anything out of this race, it's going to come at a price. It's going to be so difficult. We'll give it our best shot though and see what happens. Our pace don't seem great compared to those on mediums, so I think we're almost done, to be fair. I think there's a car staying out. I can see on the minimap there's a bit of a train through Lowe's hairpin, so we may be able to gain a bit of time here, but that's about it. Personal best. Well, not quite. We missed out because we didn't have DRS, but a bit of a better lap. I'm still a long way off the pace. Yeah, it looks like we're in trouble now. Somehow in this race we've gone backwards, which is very rare for me at Monaco. I've got the soft tyres ready, so realistically right now what I really want is a virtual safety car. Bit of a gap to Ocon, so if a virtual did come out, we'd lose 1 place to Sonoda, but I've got a fresh, shiny new set of soft tyres ready to go. There we go, that's a proper personal best. Bit more on the money, but I'm still a long way off the pace. Now the one issue I'm having is fuel. We're not saving nowhere near enough fuel, so we're going to have to start saving soon. Heavily. Okay, Lance Stroll in the pit lane, he's just rejoined behind us. Didn't realise, but he's on softs now, so he's going to be pretty fast. That's going to release all the cars ahead of us now, I believe. Meanwhile, behind, Ocon was holding up a train. There's a 20-second gap between Sonoda and Ocon. That window is opening, and I can't lie, I'm tempted. I really am. I mean, we're P9 right now. We may as well send it on a set of softs and see what happens, right? Could be fun. I don't really care about losing a point or two at this stage of the championship. So I may pit on the next lap. Seb Vettel in the pit lane now, so both Aston Martin's pit. Stroll now on the back of us. So we move up into P8. I think I'm going to pit this lap and go for it.
Right, come in at the end of this lap.
Right, let's bring her in. Ocon's doing a good job of holding up the pack. heading to the tunnel, so it's going to sort that out for us in terms of that bit of traffic as we approach some traffic of our own. Soft tyres ready to go. We shouldn't need a front wing change. So let's see how this goes. We're going to be P11 behind Seb Vettel. That's going to be the plan. You can see the guys running through the swimming pool right now, being led by Ocon. This has to be perfect. It's slow,
Complete. Go now.
but no front wing change means we're going to be out comfortably ahead. Let's go. Right, P11. Can we get anything out of this race? I think it's worth a roll of the dice instead of P8. I don't mind losing a couple of points if it means we can maybe catch up to the pack at the end of the race. Let's see how these tyres feel, and let's see if we can get anything out of this race. Or whatever happens, this should be the fastest lap as we run a little bit wide into La Rascasse. Let's see. There we go. Purple sector 3, still keeping the pace up. Every lap has been pretty much identical, but pace just isn't there at the minute. The AI seem pretty fast. So I think it's going to be P11 for us today. Right, fuel saving has to take place now. We are very, very far off target with 2.5 laps to go. There's going to be some big lift and coast right now. We give up on the chase. We move on to the next race. I don't think I'm going to make it on fuel. I need to really lift here. Like proper lift and coast. I'm so marginal right now. Now the good news, Bottas has won the race, and I think the last car he lapped was Perez. I can see on the minimap Perez is just behind Bottas, so no one's going to overtake us. This position is locked in, which is good. But I am literally trying to cruise to the finish now. I'm not even full throttle, I'm just trying to like coast the car. I should have just let myself get lapped, to be honest. That would have been much better. But yeah, I'm literally just rolling the car through. It's going to be P11 though, no points for us. Very unfortunate one here today. It is what it is. We took a gamble, we tried it. That bit of damage though in the first stint was the key deciding factor, which kind of ruined our race. So we live and learn for the next one. Looks like we are just going to make it on fuel as we roll through and coast through the final couple of corners. And we move on to the next race, but that was, I can't lie, a disappointing weekend here at Monaco.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Now there's not too bad of a result this race, and that being Nico Rosberg. He finishes P3 and on the podium, his first podium since returning to Formula 1, and he joins Hamilton on the Monaco rostrum, which, you know, we've seen that before. We know what happened in the past and what's kind of gone down, but Bottas wins, Hamilton second, and Rosberg P3. So that's a good result for the team. Very happy for that. Rosberg making up for my poor race. We finish in P11 with the fastest lap. Carlos Sainz P4 in the Ferrari ahead of Ricciardo and Norris. Gasly and Stroll, Tsunoda and Vettel, who rounds out the top 10, and then everyone else behind myself was at the points and lapped, and that includes Perez, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc as well, which is quite surprising. The overretirement, Mick Schumacher on lap 1, that was the key point in the race. Now if we look at the standings, we started off the season very well, but Spain, round 3, was a P10 and today P11, and we've dropped from, at one point, leading the championship down to P4. Bottas leads over Hamilton, 5 points clear at the top. We are 4 points behind Verstappen, and Rosberg with that podium moves into the top 10. So yeah, not great. The last 2 races have been pretty poor for the championship challenge, and we need to improve and turn it around. In the Constructors, we're currently P3. 12 points behind Red Bull, 78 points behind Mercedes. That's a big gap to turn around, and we're going to need myself and Rosberg, both of us, to be absolutely on it to try and, you know, turn that gap around. Either way, guys, it's not been the Monaco race we hoped for, but we're going to move into upgrades and see if we can change things moving forward.
How do you feel seeing your teammate up on the podium?
I'm very happy. Rosberg, you know, has done a good job, and I think that result is long overdue. I think the strategy sometimes has been a bit off from the team in certain races when Rosberg had the pace, so it's really good for him to be on the team with us.
Your teammate beat you today. Was it a setup issue or something else?
Nico just drove better. I can't complain. I can't really, you know, make any bad points about it. He fully deserves that.
So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today.
Well, it was a good scrap, and I really enjoyed it. And I think me and Sergio have been running pretty close for a few races now, but, you know, putting on a good show for the fans, that's what it's all about.
Appreciate your time.
Now, with our race done, we actually, even though we didn't score any points, we outscored Perez this race, and we outscore him, I believe, for the weekend. So the gap is now 2 points difference as things tighten up a little bit heading into the next race. Rosberg gains a little bit of a claim for change, you know, for once after that podium, which is great to see. As a team, we're gradually making our way to level 20 and that 4th sponsor. Finally, in terms of cash payouts, we do get a full payout from all of our sponsors, because even though we didn't get a top 10 for the Lupo Industries goal, Rosberg did, and no damage deductions. I've got to say, it was one of my better Monaco races, very clean. I kept it relatively safe from the barriers, you know, I didn't take many risks. Maybe that's why I wasn't quite on the pace like I usually am. I do feel like I'm a bit slower in cockpit view compared to TCAM, but that's part of the challenge, I guess. So yeah, overall not too shabby. We move on to the next one. So back in the office, we first of all have activities to take care of before the next race. So we're going to go ahead and do a second driver performance review, which helps their focus. We're going to add to that by doing a team building exercise, which is massive, and a funded team event, which is going to just help morale throughout the entire team. That's exactly what we want. And then a sponsor event to improve team acclaim. So this is quite good. These are some very productive activities, especially for team morale, which is really, really important. We're going to go ahead and use that morale to try and do some upgrades. Now, we have had the upgrade come through on the aerodynamics, so that's good news for us. I think we're going to add to that, and we're going to go for the rear wing end plate. I feel like that could be a key area for us. It might help us, you know, just push above Mercedes and Red Bull, so we'll get that on the car. And I think we're going to have to wait until we can afford another upgrade elsewhere, I think, unless we can afford a cheap little reliability one. MGUK possibly. Let's go for that. Why not? Let's get that on. And that's going to drain our points. So everything looks good. Let's move ahead to Baku. Let's see if all the upgrades arrive in time. And happy days. Everything has arrived. Everything looks good. And we're feeling pretty good about ourselves heading to the next race. You know, like I said, even though I didn't get points, I'm not too fussed because I'm glad Rosberg got the podium. That's good for team morale, that's good for him, and hopefully we can try and carry that momentum forward heading into future races. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me here today. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode of this My Team series. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes. Subscribe for more daily F1 content. As always, shout out to the channel members for supporting my content. And finally, check out 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them. And I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care, and let's goodbye from me.